Helen, thank you so much for that really interesting and inspiring talk. People are going to have to contain themselves hearing the Q&A session because there will be a short break. But before that, please do all stay where you are because we are going to hear from Rachel O'Neill about the READY study. Thank you, Rachel.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
We can hear you, Rachel.
Oh, good. Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm going to talk to you today about a research project which is based at the University of Manchester and the University of Edinburgh. It's called READY, and it's about young people moving from the age of 15 to 24. Next slide, please. So the investigation is led by Professor Alice Young. She's the lead investigator. And then there's 4 other investigators who are based at either University of Edinburgh or Manchester. Helen Chilton, who you'll know, myself at Edinburgh, Katie Rogers at Manchester, and Gary at Manchester. And we also have 6 young deaf people who are also we're training for, so that they will lead the interviewing part of the project. So these are the 6 young people who are involved. Okay, next slide, please. So this study is a 5-year study and we're 1 year in now. It covers England, Wales and Scotland, not Northern Ireland, unfortunately. What we're trying to do is build a representative sample of deaf young people with any degree of deafness, including mildly deaf, unilaterally deaf. We're trying to find people aged 15 to 19 now. They can start actually filling in a questionnaire online when they're 16. So we're presently have 100. We're looking for 200 more by next June. Now that is a very tall order. This is why I'm talking to you today, to try to see whether you can help to recruit more young people in this age group. The idea is we have an annual online survey, and they'll be asked to do this again every year for 4 more years, and they will receive a voucher, a £10 Amazon voucher every time they do that. We have ethical approval from the University of Manchester and Edinburgh. Next slide, please. So the research question we're trying to find out about, first of all, is what are the risk factors and what are the protective factors for young people in relation to their achievement. And we're looking at autonomy, social development, well-being, and educational and occupational outcomes. So we're looking at things which protect the child or the young person as they grow up, move from school to college to university and work, and protective factors, which with a large representative sample we should find. Thank you. Next slide, please. The second part of the research question is thinking about how these factors, which we're started to identify, how they interact. So how does personal family background and how people's lives are now interact with their sense of well-being, their social development, their job? You can just put the slide on again there. Just the second part will come down. So we're going to look at the very great variety of deaf young people. And of course, as we know, there's a very wide range of factors which are likely to affect outcomes for deaf young people. So because we're going to hopefully get 300 or even more deaf young people, we can start to do this. We can start to think, okay, having, for example, a positive or supportive family background makes a lot of difference. Next slide, please. So our aim, really, the crystal ball we're trying to look into, is to find out if we can predict what is needed to maximise these outcomes for any deaf young person. So we're wanting to look at autonomy, well-being and employment to see what factors could affect their positive. We're not just talking about great exam results, we're talking about confidence, we're talking about experiencing work, for example, at school. Work placements might lead to much better outcomes at work. We're looking at a person with friends who can socially move in and out of groups. We're really looking at the whole person. Thank you. Next slide, please. So we have already gathered data on 92 young people. We've actually got 100 in the study up till the lockdown period started. And this is looking at the ones before lockdown started. We paused the study at lockdown because it wasn't fair at that moment to carry on doing recruitment, but we have started again now. So this first group of wave, we're calling wave 1A, most of them were deaf from before 5. 10% had one or more deaf parents. A third of young people in this study had additional needs, which we sort of expect. Most of them were female, and we are looking for more male participants. And they were quite well qualified, this first keen group. 6 were already in work, and 3/4 had good qualifications. So people who first of all volunteer for this sort of study are not necessarily typical, and now we're trying to even things up in this next year. We're trying to find more young men. We're trying to find people from areas of the UK which we so far haven't got many people from, like the east of England, more in Scotland, more in Wales, particularly mid Wales, more in the southwest. You can see from the map where we have participants at the moment. The bottom graph chart here shows you socio-economic status, and the people on the right are overrepresented. They're from people who are from wealthier or better off backgrounds. This is, again, not a total surprise to us because I've done similar sorts of research before. People who volunteer first tend to have more resources. So we're also looking for more young people from low-income families. Okay, next slide, please. So this is where you can click through to the website to find out more about the study, and the email the project ready@Manchester. Young people themselves can look at the website and then check if they're eligible, or they can just click through from the website. This is the link. And you'll also be able to read the results from the first year of the study, which are quite extensive, and they are on the NDCS research page. I should have said earlier on, the study is funded by National Deaf Children's Society, which we are very grateful for. If you have any questions at all about the READY study, please contact me. We don't want referrals of students. We just want young people to decide for themselves to take part. And the best way they can do that is if you tell them about it, show them the website, and then we're hoping that we're going to get hundreds more young people to take part in the study. The more we have, the more sure we can be about our findings. So I'm very grateful for your help. I know that many of you have already tried this once last year, or perhaps twice. Please keep going, especially with the younger students who are just 15 now, 16 before the end of June. That we want anyone between 15 and 19 to sign up for the study. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to have a 5-minute break now. Just while we're doing that, I just want to very briefly tell you that in March 2021, we will be having the BATOD conference. The committee have decided to do this conference online. Obviously, with coronavirus, health and safety, things are just too uncertain, so we feel it would be easier to do it online. Hopefully, soon we will be able to announce the actual date of when that's going to happen in March. So please keep an eye out for the email to inform you of the date of that conference in March. And I want to say a big thank you to Frank Barnes School for their continued support. Hopefully, in very soon we will be able to have an actual conference with the school. So thank you very much.